or whether I should really ask her the question on my mind, but that's quickly brushed aside by the fact that this is rather late to have second thoughts. Surely you don't still think I'd be offended at something regarding my blindness. Oh, that's Lily talking. I thought that was Hisao for a second. Her accusing tone is betrayed by her grinning face, amused at my awkwardness in raising the topic. Some things never change. Good point, I guess. I was just thinking whether or not being blind would be a hindrance, what with your ambitions to become a teacher and all. She looks mildly surprised before giving the question some thought. I refuse to think she's never actually pondered this issue before. I wonder, Hisao, could you close your eyes for a moment? Okay. Raising an eyebrow, I do as you request. And I have no idea what she has in mind, and my question only increases as I peek out from one eye. Taking the black ribbon she usually wears in her hair from the cabinet beside her bed, she advances towards me while running it through her fingers to remove any stray hairs remaining on the piece of cloth. She's gonna tie it over my eyes and ask if I can still teach. I suddenly click onto her intentions as I feel the black strip make contact with my face, wrapping around my head and over my eyes. What exactly is this for? She's doing some S&M stuff, Hisao. It's a little test, Hisao. Since you seem to be wondering, I'll let you see things as I do for a time. Huh, so that's what this is about. To be honest, this actually sounds kind of fun. Childish and rather silly to anyone who would be watching, but a bit of silly fun never hurt anyone. I stand up with a heave, my hands quickly moving out in front of me to warn me of any obstacles. Okay, now what? Now touch me. If you say so. Now then. I slowly make my way forwards towards the sound of Lily's voice. My walking speed could barely even be called a shuffle, the entire experience feeling alien enough that I don't want to risk inadvertently tripping over anything, such as her table or her haphazard piles of books. Something soft yet solid brushes against my left leg. Further inspection reveals it to be Lily's bed. I move onwards, finding myself thankful that Lily's room is so neat and tidy. Even the piles of books she has are generally kept close to the wall, well out of harm's way. The hard well pressing against my outstretched hands make me furrow my brow in frustration. Hey Lily, where are you? What are you doing over there? I'm over here. Lily's voice comes from the other side of the room, far from where it was before, even to my untrained ears. If she's going out of her way to avoid me reaching her, then this is just a game to her. Of course it is, compared to a life where even the concept of sight is an abstract one, a few minutes in a blindfold are nothing. I guess she's made her point. She's more than capable of navigating her room, and further, I've seen how independent she is, even when compared to many of the others in Yamaku. Well, even if this is just a game, I may as well play it wholeheartedly. With a pace much quicker than before, I move towards the source of her voice, deftly sidestepping the table in the center of the room thanks to remembering its position. I've got you now. She gives an impish giggle, one just long enough to work out that she's passing just beside me. I quickly turn around to face the new The table wasn't there before. Ow, ow, ow. I slowly sit up next to the table, raising my blindfold as I rub my aching head. I give an irritated kick to the table that's sitting just in front of where I fell. Utterly pointless, but the thing deserved it. Hisao? Lily's still standing just to my side, obviously unsure of what's befallen me. Sorry, I kinda fell over. Are you hurt? My head hurts, but I think I'm okay. I think the table moved in order to trip me over. She giggles as she walks over and takes a seat beside me, her hand resting on my own. I suppose that's the end of that then. I think so. But I also think I get the point, though I do wish it hadn't involved such a headache. So Lily suddenly looks blank. Point? And I returned an extraordinarily flat look. That was just for fun? I just thought it might ease you up a little bit about the subject. You always seem to tiptoe around it after all. In regard to teaching, sight isn't that important. There are plenty of classes taught entirely by blind teachers and more than enough resources for me to learn the subject. It's as simple as that, really. I slump my shoulders and give a snort of amusement. Yeah, I understand. I guess we'll both have to work hard to reach our goals then. What is it? With a little hesitation, Lily pushes forward her chin and closes her eyes in an unmistakable gesture. Kiss again? Yep. I accept gladly, our lips touching. As they do, I suddenly feel her hand snaking up my chest from underneath my shirt. The feeling of her hand against my bare skin is enough to make my heart suddenly accelerate. So she's in that kind of mood again. Well, I'm hardly one to complain. She does genuinely like... Val! Calm down. She does genuinely like this. Even with all my medications, my libido is thankfully still intact. I lean into the kiss further, holding her hand tightly as I feel it tracing the contours of my chest. Eventually we break off from one another, the room silent but for our breathing. Hey, Hisao. Yeah? I don't suppose you could wear the blindfold again. Her tentative suggestion takes me by surprise. I suppose she wants to introduce me to sex through her eyes as well, or just wants to find out what it would be like during the act while hampered by the blindfold. Okay. With a measure of unease tempered by curiosity, I do as she says and lower the blindfold over my eyes. The world becomes dark once again. I reflexively tense as I feel Lily's hand gently brush the side of my face, entirely unable to anticipate her touch. I really need to get more used to contact like this, even after the weeks we've been going out. This isn't natural for me as it is to her. Silence? Hey, Lily. Shh. I obediently follow her instruction and quietly listen, trying to make out anything that's happening around me. Compared to before when I was chasing Lily, the need to carefully navigate the room's obstacles now gone. I can take my time and concentrate much harder on listening. It takes a while, but I can eventually pick out the soft sound of her breathing in the otherwise dead silent room. In, out, in, out. Measuring it against my own breathing, I realize it's definitely deeper than normal, especially for her. Another sound makes its way into my ears, one that I can't identify immediately. I don't think I've heard it before, but... My heart skips a beat as I realize the source, my hand almost reflexively reaching out towards it. Her face feels softer than usual under my touch, her head just barely turning in acknowledgement towards the fingers on her cheek. Hisao. I gulp and take a moment to try and calm down. I need all the concentration I can muster while I'm like this in order to fully take in my surroundings. After a few deep breaths, I think I've managed to collect myself. With a touch so light that it wouldn't disturb a feather, I start to move my hand down her body. I can feel myself losing focus again thanks to these thin silken pajamas of hers resting so perfectly over the curves of her body. If she's like this, then that means she is to be sitting against the bed and facing me. Now, to continue. Alright, this must be her hip. If I just move slightly downwards. Lily's breast catches as my hand comes over hers, tentatively following her fingers between her legs and losing them as they go underneath her underwear. Just the slightest moisture touches my fingertips, but it's enough to easily work out what she's doing. My mind suddenly fills with visions of what it must be like in front of me right now. I never imagined her doing this before, and being unable to see her doing the act only enhances the mood. I worked the blindfold upwards, pushing out of my eyes a couple of hairs that were stuck to the ribbon before. For a period of time I can only guess at, my mind goes completely blank. All I can do is stare at my newly freed eyes and take in everything in front of them. Uh-oh. Okay. Just as I worked out, Lily sits in front of me. With one hand on the ground to steady herself and the other's fingers Fingers lightly brushing between her legs, hidden by her dark blue underwear. I think it's the most erotic sight I've ever seen. Once again, I reach out and brush her hair from her face, her chin tilting outwards as she feels her pleasure-wrapped body with another breath of air. Lily. Lily looks oddly cute as she smiles at the calling of my name. Of her name. It always seems like it's at the moments when she's least attentive that she lets her most interesting emotions slip out. But it's not long before she works her fingers over herself faster than before, her excitement evidently rising, the scent of her sweat in the air only echoing that fact. I sit in front of her. It's hardly as if my own arousal's holding still. It's taking